Hello and welcome to the next Lukozer retro game review video. And for this one it is Pitstop. Yes, you heard me right, Pitstop, not Pitstop 2. Now, I've had plenty of people who have pointed out to me that there is the glaring omission of Pitstop 2 from the games that I have reviewed. It is coming, but I wanted to do the original one first, because while Pitstop 2 is regarded by many as an absolute classic, I'm not going to say anything about my thoughts. I'm going to save that for the Pitstop 2 video. The original Pitstop barely gets a mention. Almost to the point where there are some people who just don't think the game even exists. They think that Pitstop 2 was so named because it had the two-player simultaneous two players playing the game simultaneously. But no, it was actually a sequel to a previous game. So Pitstop was released way back in 1983, and as you can see it was by Epyx, which makes me think that it was probably published in the UK by US Gold. Although I know Epyx did publish their own games to begin with. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, they did do Impossible Mission, and I had Impossible Mission. I got it the year it was released, and that was Epyx published as well as developed. So yeah, maybe this was actually sold under the Epyx name. Anyway, so this will surprise a lot of you, but this is a racing game. The Commodore 64 never really lent itself to racing games, but there were the occasional decent ones. Super Cycle, which I've already reviewed, was good, and Motormania. So anyway, let's get a game underway. So I'll just do 3-lap races for this one. It's been a long time since I last played this, so I ain't going to stick with rookie. We'll just do a single race. Now there are 6 circuits: Monaco, Le Mans, Kyalami, Albi I don't know, Yarama I don't know, and Saint-Gervais I don't know. Let's do Kyalami. I like the Kyalami circuit, the old South African Grand Prix. So, here we go. Now obviously no split screen, there's no simultaneous multiplayer. But other than that, it doesn't play that much differently to Pitstop 2. You're still bumping into things and getting tyre damage as a result. Although in this one the entire tyre changes colour. It's not just the line. There's the pits, but I'm going to see if I can get through without having to actually do a pit stop. So all 4 of my tyres have now got some sort of damage, which is hardly surprising when you see how badly I started. Now that left rear isn't looking too good, but I'll keep going, see if we can do the whole race. I have to say the track doesn't look that much like Kyalami, but still. in 1983, you can't be too critical about things like that. Too busy looking at the map, see how far around the circuit I... Oh, fucking hell. Okay, well I made it. Didn't do particularly well, but there we are. Now, because I was the only actual racer, not surprising I won that one. So let's try another one. Let's try Le Mans. I do like watching Le Mans. See how this portrayal, it vaguely looks like Le Mans in the map there. Yeah, okay, that's as close as it gets. For this one, whether I need to or not, although at this rate, yeah, I do need to, I will make a pit stop. Right, so into the pits, and just like pit stop 2, take control of the pit crew. Definitely need to change these rear tyres, or this rear. I'll change the front as well. I don't need to refuel, so I won't bother with the refueling. Get him out of the way and click on the bloke to let us out, and away we go. So let's get on with the review then. Graphics, okay, the colours are a bit garish, you know. The other cars all have green tyres. Yours start off blue. The trackside graphics consist of the occasional tree going past. Oh, okay, and the occasional signpost. But come on, this is 1983 we're talking here. For 1983 and a racing game, I don't think they are bad at all. I mean, they're comparable to Pole Position, which was probably the de facto racing game of the day. Right, let's get another race underway. Well, let's have a go at Monaco then. The map doesn't really look that much like Monaco, but still. And continuing with the graphics, the road routine is fine. Alright, there's no change in elevation, but I mean, you know, 83 we're talking here. But it moves smoothly enough. It's certainly fast enough. You know, you look at this in 83 and the speed it's moving, and then you look at shit like Super Hang On and Enduro Racer and all that bollocks, and you think, you know, well, those games made it look like getting faster animation was impossible, but you can quite clearly see here it was, you know, they were doing it in 83, so it just shows just how fucking shit those two games were, and plenty of other racing games. Cisco Heat, fucking hell. Now audio, okay, your engine sound is a little bit weedy. It sounds more like you're riding a sort of ride-on lawnmower than a Formula 1 car, but and the impact sounds, well, there's something to them. I really do need to change those. Actually, I think I need to change all four tyres. And the graphics here, I think, look fine. Don't think they look that much worse than the graphics in Pitstop 2. Away we go. So yeah, graphics and gameplay, graphics and audio covered. Gameplay, it's a decent racer. I really don't know why this game doesn't get the sort of praise that Pitstop 2 gets. This is a decent a decent racing game. Right, it may be somewhat simple, but I mean, like I say, this is 1983, and yet they were able to produce racing games like this in 83, and yet, like I say, a lot later, was it 87 when Super Hang On came along? What a fucking pile of shit that was. It doesn't even begin to compare to this. So let's have one more race. Let's do one of these circuits I'm not familiar with then. So let's do the Saint-Gevite one. It's like a tricky circuit. So what do I score this? Well, I think it's a perfectly decent game. It probably doesn't have a tremendous amount of longevity, but then you know, has no more or less longevity than, say, pole position. And it does have multiplayer, although they're not simultaneous, I don't think. So really, if you're a fan of Pitstop 2, and just about every Commodore 64 owner I know is a fan of Pitstop 2, then I am sure you would be a fan of this. I have no doubt about it. I mean, Pitstop 2 I think does shade it, but that doesn't mean that this is not worth, you know, at least taking a look at. I will score this 7 out of 10. It's a perfectly decent racing game. Nothing wrong with it at all. There you go. So there we go. That is Pitstop for Commodore 64, a 1983 racing game that pisses over racing games released in 1987 with Super Hang On, and of course even later, was it 1990 when fucking Cisco Heat came out. So yeah, this, I think it deserves more attention than it gets. This is a perfectly okay racing game. So yeah, 7 out of 10 for that one. That brings this review to an end, and as always, we'll see you at the next one.